very good morning to you. It is the 19th day of January 2026. Fred.
Mambo mengi, kwani nimepatikana off.
Umepatikana off.
It is a Monday. It is only the second Monday of 2026. Wache kwa tuharakisha sana hivi.
Monday?
Second Monday, yes.
The third.
It's the second Monday. Wewe third umetoa wapi wiki nyingine?
Okay. Director anauliza how many days to Christmas, lakini we will do that countdown after Valentine's.
It's the third one.
I think it's the third Monday. It is the third Monday.
It is the third Monday. We've come from a very busy football weekend. Premier League, AFCON. I told you, my team Senegal will take it. Ulikuwa umeenda
for that reason.
Karibu sana. This is the Morning Cafe. My name is Freddy.
My name is Anodida. It is Cancer Awareness Week, cervical cancer to be precise. It encourages vaccination for HPV and of course screening. Tell your partners, just so you know, that if you have 2 or more partners, then you're at high risk of contracting cervical cancer. Ladies.
Wow.
Yes, but ladies, you're also at risk of, giving men HPV. Yep. Sasa tukue faithful.
Watu wajifunze. Kuna watu wanataka tuanze Christmas countdown sasa, tumekataa hiyo maneno. Anyway, let's take a look at the dailies this morning. Tofauti kali ndio habari kuu kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa Taifa Leo.
The Standard ODM rifts explodes.
The same story on Daily Nation. It's Odinga versus Oginga. Maswala ya ODM.
Same kwa The Star, Oburu versus Winnie, lakini main story is Kenyan stand to digital loans. Business Daily.
Yaani umechoka kusoma hiyo.
Acha kuamilie tu hapo. NSC bond trades hit record 2.7 trillion shillings on investor surge.
And definitely more politics on the People Daily. Race against time, Ruto's push to lock in power. And there's a lot to be said about him. I listened to him when he was in Sagana. Ametonda down, anaongea kwa upole sana. Ushaona rais ile anaongea kwa upole. Si ile akisema wale watu ile upande nyingine. Anasema hapana, mimi nilikuwa hapa, nyinyi watu ni wazuri sana. I tell you, siasa. Anyway, these are the dailies this morning.
All right, now we'll be back to take a look at the local dailies.
Yes. Tuvuke boda kwanza, ama sababu naona ni kama ameturushia mambo ingine. Tuende turuke, tuanze na maswala ya Uganda kwanza, because that is where a lot is happening. Yes. Daily Monitor. Finally, President Yoweri Museveni declared winner with at least 71% of the vote. At least haikufika 98%, like 71%. So internet is back on, and the Daily Monitor imeenda straight to more promises. So 7th term agenda. President-elect Museveni, fresh from a resounding win, uses his acceptance speech to put his cards on the table, pledging to hit the ground running with free education, better healthcare, creation of jobs, kicking out poverty, and corruption in the next 5 years. Now, one wonders, okay, fine. You've been there for 40 years. Sasa ndo unaanza kulist hizi vitu. Anyway, they've covered this extensively on pages 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and including page 1. So 10 pages dedicated to President Yoweri Museveni's acceptance speech after the resounding victory. We still do not know the whereabouts of his main challenger, Bobi Wine. Because he said on election day, immediately after voting, his house was raided, and he managed to escape with his family, and he posted a video online from an unknown, an undisclosed location. So we just do hope that he's still safe wherever he is. Meanwhile, Ugandans are already congratulating the president, and even up here, world leaders react to Museveni's win. They've used a photo of President William Ruto. Leaders from the African Union and various nations have congratulated President Museveni following his declaration by the Electoral Commission as the winner of the 2026 presidential election. So that is the main story. I think the other papers maybe were focused on my MP, nini, lakini Museveni for a 7th term.
Today we only have Daily Monitor as well from Uganda.
Yes. I think wale New Vision wamechelewa tu kidogo, lakini the internet is back, so we should be getting the papers.
All right, Twende Tanzania. The Citizen, World Bank projects 6.2% growth in 2026. They say Tanzania's economy is projected to grow by that percentage, that is 6.2% this year, placing the country among the top 3 performers in the East African community. That's how they are top. According to the World Bank status, lakini East African community.
Okay, 6.2, I don't think Kenya can hit 6.2 because we are way ahead. You see, when your economy is bigger, you grow with smaller percentages. But if your economy is struggling, you can even grow by 10% because anything you do is positive. Yeah.
All right, so it says, according to the central bank, Tanzania's economy grew by 5.9% in 2025, driven by agriculture, mining, and construction, and Zanzibar's economy expanded by 6.8%. That is buoyed by construction and tourism during the same period. Other quick headlines here: Samia mourns death of CCM lawmaker Halima Eid Nassor on the top strip kule juu. Matters International also given prominence there. Trump vows tariffs on European allies over Greenland. Hawa walinyimwa visa, by the way, na Trump, so they cannot travel to the US. When stadiums shut out people with disabilities, there's a special report on page 2. KCMC introduces stream-based prostate surgery.
Steam-based. They're using steam.
Yes.
Interesting.
Vision 2050, why role of investors is more crucial than ever.
Hawa wanaongelea Vision 2050 hawaendi Singapore.
That's the Citizen.
Alright, on the Mwananchi, masuala ya siasa yanapewa kipaumbele pale. Habari kuu anasema ACT Wazalendo ngoma nzito, vigogo wake wajifungia Dar, washindwa kupata mwafaka wa kujiunga serikali ya umoja wa kitaifa. Niliona habari nyingine inasema hata Chadema wali strip officials wote, so they are looking for new officials of that party. So masuala ya siasa yameanza kurudi kwenye kurasa za mbele baada ya uchaguzi wa Oktoba mwaka jana. Habari nyingine hapa, waziri azua mjadala mitihani kada ya afya. Ni kauli ya waziri wa afya Mohamed Mchengerwa kutaka usimamizi wa mitihani wa vyuo vya kada ya afya kuhamasishwa ama kuhamishwa Wizara ya Elimu, Sayansi na Teknolojia. Imeibua mjadala miongoni mwa wadau wa sekta ya afya. Wapo wanaounga mkono hoja hiyo na kuna wale wanaoipinga. Wengine hapa kwingineko wanasema viwanja vya soka vinapogeuka shubiri kwa wenye ulemavu, hawajapea access, baby hawana zile ramp za wenye wanatumia wheelchairs. Wajitosa kumrithi Jenista Peramiho, yumo mwanawe. Habari nyingine pale na kule juu, jicho la wasomi wa Uganda, ushindi wa Museveni, 71% of the vote pale. At least Tanzania wamesema, wamezungumzia kinachoendelea kule Uganda kwa gazeti hili moja. Tukiangalia gazeti lingine hapa regional, the East African.
Tough new task, and after breathing campaigns, an election marred by internet blackout, failed machines and claims of fraud, the president finds an entry with a long wish list from Ugandans. This is President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda. Tough new task. Akona tough task kweli. 7 terms, tough task.
He knows his job. If you've been doing the same job for 40 years, you know what to do.
He knows what to do. Kenya now seeks another Eurobond. A new debt is meant to ease cash flow constraints amid falling revenues, rising expenditure pressures, Treasury says. Ports, politics and power. UAE in Horn of Africa say Mogadishu's cancellation of Emirati port deal with Somaliland exposes Abu Dhabi's marine power game and the region. Other quick headlines: Samia's promise to Tanzanian public is also there. At 82, Tanzanian granny fulfills her dream to earn PhD. Wow. It's never too late.
It's never. Now, the interesting thing is that whatever happened in Uganda is going to be big discussion, even on with our panel this morning. And it's interesting that many African leaders have congratulated Yoweri Museveni, despite the fact that internet was shut down. That election required biometric voter identification, which is based, it has to use internet. Then you shut down internet. Then the forms, like when we talk about forms 34A here, even then there are forms that need to be uploaded onto the internet. But without the internet, all that didn't happen. So how are we quick to congratulate something that was obviously flawed? But anyway, that's Uganda. And our president is among the very first to congratulate his counterpart there. So these are the headlines across the region. We'll be back to take a look at the local ones in depth in a short while. For now, tuangalie hali ya anga. Last week we had seen that across the nation we're going to experience a rising in temperatures across board this entire week. We start in the northern part. This is Garissa. It is quite hot this morning at 24 degrees. It will get as high as 36 degrees. Yeah. Na ikiendelea by the end of the week, Saturday, 37. So yes, it is staying true to what we saw. They say today is a partly cloudy day. Very hot weather in Garissa. Turuke border tuende Kampala. Nilisikia kulikuwa na tear gas uko proper.
It's 19 degrees in Kampala, lakini rain expected around 11 a.m. It's a mostly cloudy day today in Kampala. Precipitation is 10%. Sasa mvua kidogo tu, lakini kesho very heavy rainfall. alafu weather inaenda ikipanda. Tomorrow precipitation will be at 40%.
So it will definitely rain.
Yes.
All right. Back home, tuende Machakos. Kulikuwa na nyota fund huko last week. Nyota fund inakuja Nairobi leo. Yeah. 15 degrees this morning, mostly cloudy, highs of 25 degrees, which is a bit comfortable, but this will change. By the weekend, we'll be hitting 27, 28, 29 degrees on Sunday. So they say it is a cloudy day, very little chance of rainfall. Kunaweza kuwa na manyunyu hapa na pale, but do not expect much. That is Machakos. Nakuru na imepotea, tuende tu Kisumu.
Okay. Tuende Kisumu, it's 18 degrees this morning, feels like 19 degrees. Highs of 30 degrees, so it's a very hot day in Kisumu today. Precipitation is 10%. Iyo hakuna mvua hata kidogo. Hata kama iko, itakuwa tu a little bit of showers. But it will rise to 31 degrees by Wednesday and Thursday, and into the weekend.
All right. Down south of the coast, 24 degrees in Mombasa this morning. They say it's a mostly cloudy day, highs of 31 degrees. This will continue for the rest of the week. Yes, 31, itakaa tu hapo, mostly cloudy. A bit of precipitation later in the week, not much though. Finally, Nairobi.
Nairobi this morning is 15 degrees, feels like it. It's a mostly cloudy day, highs of 27 degrees, not so bad. Like it's hot, but not so bad.
27 degrees is high. 27 is quite high.
Yeah. Precipitation 5%, hakuna mvua kidogo lakini.
Unaona hapa tunasema 27. You will feel how hot it will be if you're in Nairobi.
Yes.
Tomorrow it will be 27. Wednesday 28. Friday 28. Saturday 29. By Sunday we'll be hitting 30 degrees in Nairobi, which will be the hottest we've seen this entire year. So watu wa Nairobi ngojeni. It is going to get warm. Sio mimi nimesema, ni watu wa utabiri wa hali ya anga. So let's take a look at the traffic situation at exactly 10 minutes past the hour in Nairobi. Watu wa mashule ni kama walipunguka, lakini sasa most people are just back to normal traffic. You can see the major tributaries like Outer Ring Road, nothing to talk about. Everything is new, green on both sides of the road. Thika Road all the way from Ruiru, it's green all the way down to the Pangani interchange. Nothing out of the ordinary. Jogoo Road too. Pale tu Makadara na Shauri Moyo. After that it's smooth. You realize the town now, zile spots za red zimeisha. It's now yellow. It means that we're back to normal traffic even within the CBD. Ile back to school traveling ni kama imepungua. Mombasa Road from the airport to the city center, it's looking good. And Wayaki Way also into the CBD. Nothing to report. Remember ile barabara iko pale Nyayo Stadium, ile yenye you join from inaitwaje pale Makadara roundabout, Madaraka roundabout all the way straight to that Bunyala Road roundabout imefungwa. So lazima uende pale stadium pale ukutana na Mombasa Road, then you turn. Wale wanatoka Langata Road, be advised. That's the traffic situation this morning.
All right, let's have the quarter video. It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop.
All right, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies. A lot of ODM on most of the front pages. Kuna nini ODM? Kuna tofauti kali. Hapa Taifa Leo wanasema hivyo. Kuna mapambano. Winnie aunga mkono waasi wa ODM, Sifuna na Babu, akiapa kuhakikisha hakuna kiongozi anayetimuliwa chamani. Pia alishinikiza kuandaliwa kwa kongamano la wajumbe au NDC mara moja, ambapo aliahidi kivumbi kikali. Yeye na mjomba wake hapa wanapelekana mbio kweli kweli. Ilikuwa ni katika hafla ya Kibra jana. Kambi ya Winnie ilionekana wazi kumpinga amu yake Oburu. Ilikuwa tu ni siku chache baada ya Oburu Oginga kuandaa mkutano pale pale Kibra pia. Na watu walisema ni kama alikuwa anashindwa kuhutubia waliokuwa kwenye mkutano huo. Sema kuna watu waliohudhuria mkutano wa Winnie walikuwa wengi zaidi. Sijui sikuwa pale. But sasa ni Odinga na Oginga wanakwaruzana. Vidokezo zaidi, Mbadi na mkuu wa KRA pabaya wanakabiliwa na hatari ya kuadhibiwa kwa kupuuza amri ya koti kuhusu uagizaji wa mchele wa shilingi bilioni 5. Rai ya Ruto kwa jamii ya Daudi bora, na Sakaja azindua basari ya shilingi milioni 170. Masuala ya elimu hayashughulikiwi kwenye ugatuzi, lakini sasa gavana wa Nairobi kazi yake ya kokota takataka na mambo ingine itangoja kwanza. Basari milioni 170. Kule juu, Ruto achukua wataalamu wa kiuchumi wa Raila. Ni baada ya Adams Olo na Joe Ager. Rais atua Nyong'o na Profesa Wanyande watakuwa nampatia mawaidha. Masuala ya spoti, hofu kambi ya Arsenal baada ya sare. Kocha Arteta alalama kunyimwa penalty, huku kasi ya timu ikivurugwa, lakini bado wako point 7 mbele. Juu ya meza, Taifa Leo.
All right, to the Daily Nation, it's Odinga versus Oginga. And Winnie Odinga, the daughter of former ODM leader Raila Odinga, who died last October, has criticized an ODM wing she accuses of seizing power, railroading decisions without consultations, and threatening critics with expulsions from the party. Now, Winnie also defended ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna and Embakasi East MP Babu Owino, setting up a clash with party leader Oburu Oginga, who is her uncle. This story is on page 4 and 5. Betrays speakers at Kibra rally turn the heat on ODM officials, crushing dissent contrary to Raila's ideals. And they're quoted here, both of them. Winnie says, Baba died just the other day, but they are in a hurry to get some things done. Not everyone believed in Baba, some were only using him. But they, you know, wako in a hurry. Mambo imekuwa mingi.
Wanataka kuingia UDA haraka sana. Haraka. Come what may, sisi tuingie broad based haraka sana.
Kila siku there's something new. Oburu Oginga anasema those who wish to leave should do so on their own. Our focus is on strengthening the party. Winnie says you cannot copy paste Baba.
No, you can't. That one I agree with her. You cannot. There are things you cannot do. Now, even more interesting is that the party leader Oburu Oginga was in Kakamega attending another meeting there in Kakamega. And even in Kakamega, there was a split. There was a separate meeting by the former deputy party leader, the CS, Oparanya, who held a separate meeting. So Oburu Oginga was forced to attend that meeting, then go attend another one. He had to attend 2 meetings because even in Kakamega, people do not agree. Now here, at the national level, it's a family affair. So the question is, do you see this party surviving to the end of this year? Should we start a countdown to the end of ODM?
Tutafika August kweli. Letu jicho. Why Mbadi KRA boss are in trouble. This story is on page 3. They make mention of it. It's a special feature. Kenyans still being lured in Russia war, and this it's also a special feature on page 8. Conflict matters governance here, from Kanu's fall to Gen Z's rise, factors shaping LSK elections. Faith Odhiambo has finished her term. He said while some Law Society of Kenya presidents have been vocal and aggressive, others have been reserved and they matter. That's the Daily Nation this morning. Unfortunately, today we do not have a physical copy yet. Ndio tuangalie back page, lakini AFCON ilisha jana.
Acha niko nayo hapa, acha nikuangalie back page hapa sasa hivi kuambia wanasema nini huko nyuma, because it's been as I said when we were starting the show, it's been a very busy weekend in as far as football was concerned. What with EPL and then AFCON. So the back page talks about 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, a blueprint for the future. Now this has ended. The next AFCON we're going to have will be hosted by Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda. Tayari tuko na Talanta Stadium. Tumejaribu kurekebisha pale Kasarani Stadium. That's where we expect most of the matches to be played here in Kenya. Sijui kama Nyayo Stadium itatumika tena. But now, yes, we need to learn from Morocco. They have some of the most beautiful stadiums you can ever have. Some of the biggest as well. So Kenyans angrily react to 2027 AFCON no roads remark by journalist in Morocco Presser. Yes, there's a journalist who said, and he's not a Kenyan journalist, so he was criticizing Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania ahead of 2027. Anasema AFCON should not be hosted by these 3 countries because we don't have roads. Sasa Wakenya wakiambiwa hivyo wanakasirika sana, lakini pia ni ukweli, si ati mna barabara nyingi sana hivyo. Sababu tu mko na expressway, sasa mnasikia ni kama kuna barabara za kutosha.
Lakini we're not doing badly. We're not bad off.
Anyway. Hata tuko na SGR itakuwa tayari by then. Most goals scored in one edition registered by Morocco. So yes, back page, a lot of AFCON. That's the Daily Nation.
All right. Star.
The Star. Kenyans turn to digital loans and Shylocks to survive tough economy. They say report blames shrinking revenues, unemployment, and high cost of living. It is only the 19th of January, and people are already talking about their suffering. Tufungue huku ndani tuone Kenyans. Asema Kenyans are forced to master the art of borrowing from Peter to pay Paul and borrow again to survive. Yeah. So Shylocks charge as high as 20-30%. That's the average interest rates for mobile lending apps. Yeah. CBK yao ni 9%. Average commercial bank rates zinafika 15%. Lakini Kenyans are not going to banks, wanaenda kwa Shylocks. So that's a story on page 4 and 5. You can read more on the Star. But this paper also focuses on what is happening on ODM on the front page. Oburu versus Winnie. Battle for ODM soul intensifies. So they have Winnie Odinga on one side, Oburu Oginga on the other hand, and Akiwa Kule Kakamega. And clearly, all these papers are talking about the split in ODM. I think, should we say it's imminent? Ama it's looming?
Well, so they're not seeing eye.
Kuna zile words watu wa media wanapenda kutumia ati looming crisis, imminent disaster. Pale juu, ISPAC boasts corruption thrives where checks and balances are weak. And quoting Gen Z for 2027, inside Ruto Kindiki plan to woo young people. Yes, President William Ruto will be in Nairobi today, rolling out the Nyota Fund campaign. He did so last week in Machakos, and before that I think it was in Nyeri, where the combined counties of Mount Kenya were together. Before that he started off the year in Eldoret doing the same. Leo, ako Nairobi. Back page ya hawa, akuna AFCON, back to the groove. They talk about the local league and Kenya's runners dominating Sunday's road races in Europe and Asia. That's the Star.
All right. People Daily, race against time, Ruto's push to lock in power. They say the tech president, they call him that, Kenya Kwanza administration has promised a paperless government and claims that by January 2026, they already have digitized more than 23,000 services. And the Nyota Gamble as well, president's latest flagship program, is bankrolled by the World Bank and promises 50,000 Kenya shillings grants to more than 820,000 vulnerable youths. Education test. State has promised to hire 100,000 teachers in 3 years, and by January 2026, 24,000 new recruits are joined. The numbers look strong, but more needs to be done. 4, they talk about faith and housing, and his affordable housing agenda aims to build 250,000 units every year. To achieve this, he has partnered with the Dawudi Bora community, and the divided verdict on the macro level. He showcases success, digitization, housing numbers, international deals, but on the micro level, citizens feel the pinch of high cost of living, taxation, and unemployment. Race against time, Ruto's push to lock in power.
This one, if you look at it differently, it's simply talking about the fact that the president appears to have already kick-started his re-election campaigns.
Yes.
Alianza mwaka hivo na ni kama campaign imeanza.
Campaigns ilianza last year.
No, this time ni kama ameanza proper.
Yeah, okay.
See, now he's back to wearing the yellow cap,
wearing
different colors za chama, na anazunguka sasa akipeana Nyota Fund. Hii inakaa ni kama ameamua, I'm on the road.
Other quick headlines: extortion in grade 10 admission, rogue school, state silence, leave parents feeling betrayed. There's a special feature on page 12. And Kuleju, how counties will share out 420 Kenyan shillings billion, and who gains most in 2026. That's another story on page. That's page?
Page 8.
That's page 8. That's the People Daily.
All right, from the People Daily back to matters ODM, because that's what is on the front page of the Standard. ODM rift explodes. Power war. Winnie Odinga has stormed back into ODM politics with a show of force that has rattled the party's new power center, commanding a mammoth Kamukunji crowd reminiscent of her late father's rallies. The Iala MP has warned party bosses against unilateral decisions and demanded a national delegates conference. Hawataki kusikia hiyo kitu. Hata ile Central Management Committee walisema no. Hii mambo ya NDC ingoje kwanza tumalize kudeal na UDA. Yeah, so she's demanded a national delegates conference before any 2027 realignments. Her intervention sharply contrasts with smaller rival meetings led by party leader Oburu Odinga and exposes widening cracks as ODM winds coalition talks with President Ruto's UDA. From Kibra to Kakamega, the party Raila built is now openly divided between unity calls rebellion threats, and high-stakes fight for its soul. It's the only story on the front page, Matters ODM, which has been given prominence on page 2, 3, na kuendelea 4, because they're talking about Ruto accused of dragging feet and executing the 10-point agenda. The 10-point agenda was a meeting point between ODM and UDA, now what they call broad-based. Yoweri Museveni gets featured there on page 5. It's Museveni's seventh heaven, democracy's hell. Wow, a full page of that. And now a very interesting story. There's a bill in Parliament about surrogacy. So wombs for hire, and it's spread on pages 6 and 7. Inside the dark business of surrogacy and why Kenya is attractive. Then Matters education there, but on the back page, Ateta angry as Arsenal missed chance to go 9 points clear. That's the EPL results from the weekend. AFCON ndani. Morocco showcases a country's building towards 2030 World Cup. Remember, AFCON comes to East Africa next year, actually, 2027. Are we ready for it? That's the back page of the Standard.
All right. Finally, Business Daily. NSE bond trades hit record 2.7 trillion shillings on investor surge. They say the value of bonds traded in the secondary market at the NSE hit a historic 2.7 trillion shillings in 2025, promising stockbrokers and the exchange operator higher commission income. This story is on page 2. State seeks to firm grip on Kenya's reboard and CAP CEO tenure. This is about Kenya Re is seeking to amend its governance rules to grant the government control over its board of directors irrespective of its shareholding, and introduces 6-year maximum tenure for its chief executive officer. On the ticker, Kenya Power staff forge payslips to get loans. I say at least 384 employees at Kenya Power forged payslips to take out loans. A new audit has revealed, exposing weaknesses in the company's human resource systems. Unajua walisema ati wanaibiwa transformer. Sasa transformer hazitoshi. Somebody told them the only people who can take down a transformer work for you guys. Yeah,
just Kenya Power staff. They're among the most corrupt, unfortunately, sorry to say.
Coop Bank boss Muriuki buys extra 148 million shares, and Kenya tops Africa startup funding. They say Kenyan startups attracted the largest debt and equity financing in Africa for the second year in 2025 at about 126.9 billion shillings, according to a research firm that tracks such transactions on the continent. That's the Business Daily.
All right, so those are the main stories and the main talking points. A lot of ODM on the front pages, what is happening in Uganda. Those are the two main stories, and we'll be discussing that with my panelists after the break. Before that, let's take a look at the cartoons today, and we start off, this is a cartoon on the Daily Nation, talks about police brutality. That video online where police waliingia mahali vijana wanacheza pool, wakaanza tu kuwachapa.
Nandi Hills.
Ati sababu wanacheza pool. When did pool become criminal, playing pool? So anyway, but the problem is, and the irony according to this cartoon, is that you still have to go report to the police about their own brutality. So the police are now appealing to anyone with information to come forward. Who will show up and come? And they're investigating, yet their feet have a lot of blood. Wanajizunguka tu pale. Police brutality report desk. That's the Daily Nation.
All right. This is People Daily. Gachagwa's camp in tatters. Yuko hapa anajaribu kufix camp yake.
Kumetaruka. I saw he held a meeting with some of the MPs who are allied to his party, DCP, in Mombasa the weekend. So amepigwa picha mmoja hapo, wamekaa wote wamevaa shorts. Gachagua amevaa kaptula imefika hapa, na ule senator wa Murang'a amevaa kaptula imefika hapa tena, na wengine hivyo hivyo. Wote wamevaa vinyasa. Chama cha DCP. Same story. On the cartoon on the Standard, it's about what's happening to DCP, or at least to Gachagwa's allies. Kuna jamaa amepanda ndovu, ule jamaa wa Juja, amevaa ile uniform ya UDA sasa. Ule alikuwa anasemekana aliabductiwa, lakini kama aliadmit yeye mwenyewe alijiabduct. Yeye mwenyewe aliadmit. So he headed to Sagana State Lodge. Central MPs are now abandoning Gachagua. Since he can't deliver, he betrayed us. That's what they're saying. That's the cartoon on the Standard.
Finally, the Star, the 3 East African presidents, Samia Suluhu, and of course Yoweri Museveni. Our share election, lakini there's somebody taking notes.
Anachukua notes. Aliwa congratulate wote. Ali congratulate Mama Samia na me congratulate Mzee Museveni. Kaambia congratulations for your resounding win. Ule 98%, mwingine 71%. Wewe ni kama ulilegea 71%. So he's taking notes.
Next year.
That's the star.
All right. On the State of the Nation?
On State of the Nation today, we'll be having this three eminent gentlemen. Kipruto Rapkirwa, who served as Agriculture Minister in the Kibaki I administration and also as MP of Cherangani before that. He'll be here alongside Samuel Pogisio, who served as ICT Minister Kibaki II administration, as Majority Leader in the Senate, and also as MP from Kacheliba. And Senator Dr. Danson Mungatana, who is a senator for Tana River County. He'll be in studio. They'll be helping us take a look at the dailies this morning.
All right. Monday Blitz will be coming up next after that to talk about weekend sports.
Yes, a lot to discuss, especially around AFCON. Also the EPL, the fact that a lot of teams, the top 4 teams in that league that is followed very closely by Kenyans, did not manage any win. Wengine walipigwa, wengine wakadraw.
All right, admin anasema sasa Senegal kushinda ni kitu ya kubraga ama kawaida tu. Umetune in ukiwa wapi? Let them brag. You know they were underdogs.
They were underdogs in this one because Morocco were the hosts. So na uliona mpaka walipewa penalty. Ikafika mahali. It was so dramatic. They were given a penalty that forced Senegal players to leave the pitch. They left in protest for about 17 minutes. Then they had to go back, waliambiwa kujeni tu. Alafu jamaa kupewa penalty akashindwa kufunga. Wakaenda extra time. Jamaa akafunga. I'm telling you. A sweet victory.
Yeah.
Unaweza dhani nilikuwa na watch hiyo game na nilikuwa nimelala.
Ulipata wapi that information?
Kuna watu wamenihadithia.
Level moja we can see you pamoja nikiwa Busia Ubekai. Njoroge wa Githuku anasema kawaida yake. Congratulations. Kim Mouth Gatanga Murang'a County, asante. Crispin Masaa Ugunja Pacho for once. Thank you. Unajua last week director producer aliniuliza wapi watu wa Pacho. Wako hapa?
Mkangi mapema
They had. Ni wenye wako shy, they don't want to comment. Chebi Shabana anasema Nakuru tuned in. And Ngeiwo Joseph Cherubeta anasema kwa nini mtu asiringie ushindi huko Senegal? Niko Kaboroit, Mlima Elgon.
Anasema heko Senegal. Edgar Sigilaya anasema ni kitu ya kubrag. The Morocco walikuwa na kiburi sana. Chenge Bida anasema cheki kamati ya roho chafu. Huyo admin ameambiwa ni roho chafu. Mwache wivu. Bene Ogalo anasema na advisor Pastor Emmanuel Barasa Manu anasema Kitengela well represented. Kuna wengine hapa Mika Okware. Good morning, happy new week. Ule jamaa wako wa nyama tamu products and butchery. Anasema OJ Membli Ruiru tuned in. Christopher Atandi. Good morning, watching live from Borangi, Kenyambi, with my wife Lydia Kirubo, Abana, Sheila, Matiangi, Moranga, Mikae, Mama, wacha tu niwasome wote. Mama Mungina na Tata Moranga, pamoja hadi tamati. Have a good day. Na kuna jamaa Mukuyuni, huko ni karibu na kwetu. John Malo, anaitwa huko Mukuyuni Farm, Sehendu Ward, Trans Nzoia County, tuko pamoja.
Advisor Pastor Emmanuel Barasa, you skipped him here, anasema Wasitila Bungoma sahi niko Kitengela niko live. Timu ni moja ya Manchester United. Hiyo tutasoma tu juu umesema lakini timu ni Arsenal.
Bas.
Kidiga Danson, we are proud. Sabatia Vihiga well tuned. Beneo Gola anasema muache wivu kamati ya rochafu. That one we already looked at that. David Mugada, morning, watching live from Kwale County. Show iko sawa Indimuli.
Yeah, show iko sawa kabisa. Asante sana David Mugada.
All right, do interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, on X, TV47 Digital. My handle is at @Ann_Odida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47.
My handle on X is at Fred Indimuli. See you after the break.
Own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Ouma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tiaga. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
Walikutoka.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Mimi ni simpa. Hiyo naona nakubali.
Wewe ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Foreke tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Foreke is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Ani wewe furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CP unit ni Punet.
So you guys knew about...
Piga.
Sawa basi. Nasema, that I'm giving the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
Next time you need fresh lemon juice, microwave a lemon for 7 to 10 seconds. Then roll the lemon back and forth under your palm on the counter. When you squeeze, you'll get more juice from the lemon with way less effort.
Start your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite with Tasty Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where Anne serves up delicious recipes, cooking tips, and the latest food trends to inspire your next meal. Relationship Wednesday and
policies that we have in Uganda, we lack. The Commission explained that the temporary suspension of internet services during the election period was a proportionate measure aimed at preventing disinformation and safeguarding the electoral process from online fraud and incitement to violence. UCC confirmed that restored services include web browsing, education resources, government services, financial applications, and email communication, but social media platforms and over-the-top messaging applications remain temporarily restricted as authorities continue to monitor the digital space for potential misuse.
Educational resources, government portals, financial services, email, and other essential online activities. In line with the directive issued to all licensed mobile network operators and internet service providers, social media platforms and messaging over-the-top, or if you may, OTT applications remain temporarily restricted.
The Commission also issued a strong warning against attempts to bypass restrictions using virtual private networks or VPNs, cautioning that such actions, if used to break the law, could result in device-level restriction.
Of course, there are people who think that they can bypass these directives through usage of VPNs. Well, but I want to tell you that we have reasonable capabilities now, especially if you use that bypass to break the law, to attack you directly.
As the country moves beyond the election period, UCC still calls on the general public to prioritize peace, truth, and national unity in the use of digital platforms.
The internet is a powerful tool for enterprise, education, and entertainment, and staying connected to our loved one. Let us use it to build, not to destroy.
Yoweri to Haburwa Kaguta Museveni.
On Saturday, President Yoweri Museveni secured his 7th term in office after he was declared winner. African Union observers have termed the elections as largely peaceful. Opposition leader Bobi Wine has, however, released a video he claims shows Electoral Commission officials taking all ballot papers in favor of President Museveni at a polling station in western Uganda. Sadam Mobale, TV47, Kampala.
Yes, indeed, Yoweri Museveni wins a 7th term with 71% of the votes cast. His main challenger, Bobi Wine, Robert Chagulani, got slightly less than 25%. But it was an election held under the cloud of heavy military deployment and internet shutdown, and perhaps that was the most consequential, the fact that the ballot process depended heavily on the internet, even biometric voter identification and uploading of some forms on the internet. But without the internet, those processes were not there. Party revolts, failing kits, ballot stuffing, managed democracy. These are just some of the analysis coming out of this election. President Museveni, 81 years old, gets a 7th term. This is where we want to begin our discussion this morning with my panelists, Samuel Pogisio, who served as ICT Minister in the Kibaki II administration, as Senate Majority Leader in the 12th Parliament, Senator West Pokot, and as MP Kachiliba earlier before that. Karibu sana, Bwana Pogisio. At least you were here when we were discussing this, so it's just a continuation.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah. Also with us this morning is Kipruto Rapkirwa, who served as Agriculture Minister in the Kibaki I administration and as MP of Cherangani before that. Karibu sana. It is your first time on Morning Cafe this year, so Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's good to see you back. Karibu.
Thank you.
Dr. Danson Mungatana, Senator Tana River, was here with us last week, and we also discussed this issue of Uganda. He's with us this morning again. Karibu sana, Senator.
Asante.
It's good to have you in
morning.
studio. So we start with that, and it was to be expected that this would happen. Now people are calling this managed democracy, that once an incumbent is in power in Africa, however much they may tend to try and express their desire to run a proper democracy, it is still impossible to remove an incumbent, or rather almost impossible. Bwana Pugisio, do you believe that that is the way it goes, that once you're an incumbent, you are definitely not the underdog?
Fred, good morning. And this is one of the things that can almost be concluded to be true in Africa, almost be concluded to be true. Very few occasions where an incumbent without term limits has, an incumbent gives up. There are few examples of countries where that has happened, very few examples. But the majority of the African democracies, there you'll find that it's very difficult to remove an incumbent who is hell-bent on staying in power. Even for us here with 2 terms, it's not easy. The tendency is to make it possible for the incumbent to continue. And I think that's where we have to think about. So let me use the opportunity to congratulate President Museveni for his 7th term, and to wish him well. We are under all obligation to say that, because he's the president of Uganda, and I live on the border, you know, and I go to Uganda quite a bit. So let me use the opportunity to say congratulations and to wish him success. I sympathize with the opposition young man, Bobby Wine. I mean, he put up a very spirited battle. He, I think, is very popular. He's got opportunities, especially in urban areas and areas around the lake. So should not give up. I think it becomes stronger by the time, every time. The one thing which I observed about those elections actually was, why did the Ugandans keep away from that election? That's a big question. 21 million registered voters, and only 11 million voted. That did not add up completely. That is about 50%, yeah? And it was definitely tailor-made for this win. And under those circumstances, Kenyans must consider themselves lucky that even with our differences and with our issues, we haven't gotten to the level where there's total shutdown of communication. We haven't gotten there. So at least we're able to communicate and even do parallel tallying and so on and so on. But this is what Uganda was trying to avoid. It was very interesting for me, having been the minister in communications, and for me to see that the communication authority itself is the one trying to explain why they're shutting down.
Do you think it's possible in Kenya, because that's the biggest fear, that it's happened in Uganda, it happened in Tanzania, that the internet could actually be shut down in Kenya as well?
I tell you, I think that would be pushing too far for Kenyans. Kenyans are, they live on this thing. I mean, you can imagine people had to leave the country. If their business depended on internet, they had to leave the country. Because if you shut down for 3 days, some people, their job is completely done. So, and so we could not even get media coverage, because proper media coverage, we had to wait for a while to get information. So I don't think that, be ill-advised, like our communication authority, our CA, will be the one explaining to us why they're shutting the internet. I don't think so. So yeah, while Ugandans are reeling from that, it's probably time to you realize that the rural Uganda, that's north of the lake region, was all yellow, completely yellow. And only the region around the lake, Lake Victoria, and a few urban areas were red, which means that Museveni's campaign slogan, which was protecting the gains, I think he was able to sell it to the rural areas pretty well. People are saying, if we don't vote this man back, how are we going to protect the gains? So that was a good message for the Ugandans. So it's difficult for us as Kenyans to understand how that was done, and there's very little complaints from the rural areas.
Right.
You know, so.
It's interesting, the psyche of the population, the fact that 10 million Ugandans who are registered to vote did not show up. Almost about 45 to 47% just failed to show up. It adds to the belief and perception that an incumbent is almost impossible to be dislodged from that position through an electoral process. Do you believe that that kind of feeling, even in Kenya, now that we're heading to elections next year, could actually be one way of voter turnout? Just the belief that once a person is an incumbent, you simply cannot remove them from the through the ballot.
Well, Fred, thank you so much for this opportunity. For me, Museveni is a product of certain struggle. And therefore, we cannot compare with normal and routine presidential candidates, because he actually built that country from an economy that was totally shattered. And therefore, many people owe it to him. Even those of us who live in Kenya, unlike my brother here, the Honorable Samuel Pogisho, who happens to have gone even to school in Uganda, when even part of the Pokot community was part of Uganda. We owe it to him. The stability that is there in Uganda, we owe it to him. And also, let me emphasize the fact that either way, Museveni was going to win, given the fact that Robert Chagulanyi was controlling some of the major towns and a small section of the entire community of Uganda. Perhaps 71% is an exaggeration. That is a product of either good mobilization or a bit of fiddling with the votes. Otherwise, either way, he was going to win. Even the lady in Tanzania was going to win. When it comes to our own country, the comparison cannot be the same. In Tanzania, the party is very strong, CCM. In Uganda, the president himself is a very strong person. Many people in Uganda associate him with the progress the country has made for the last 30-something years or so. And this therefore means that it's a product of another kind of combination. Here in Kenya, a president is just one of the workers who happens to have been given the chief executive of the nation. And we can change and we still maintain our own sobriety as a nation. Number two, there are enough examples in Africa, and let's remind ourselves that countries like Angola, countries like Botswana, countries like Malawi, countries like Zambia, Nigeria, Ghana, and many others, we have had one term. And this therefore does not mean that Africa is excluded from democratic processes. It's only that the incumbent, because of the lack of political hygiene, spend a bit of time trying to fiddle with the votes, because they believe if we lose an election, it's the end of the world. Remember, Trump was also one term, although now he has reclaimed it with a lot of devastating damage to the country that is the president. So in my own analysis, it is simple to say so, and it is also simple for those who want to fiddle with the votes here in Kenya to pretend that it is not easy to defeat an incumbent. The jury is outside there. It is very clear that if the current regime was to get back to power, it will be out of our own disorganization, those who are in the alternative view, than their own capacity to convince Kenyans that all is well. And let me not really go into the details of that, but suffice to say one or two things. One, it is not easy to deny Kenyans a chance to make their own political decisions, given the fact that we in Kenya are slightly ahead of the entire community of East Africa, all the way from Somalia to DRC. We will not just accept that, okay, so-and-so can complete the following term, just because it is convenient to say, let us allow him so that he goes home. The chief executive of a country must prove to everybody that is doing well and he respects the thinking of Kenyans. Otherwise, any other way of trying to get back to power without the requisite capacity to perform and demonstrate that performance, without a lot of slogans that really are empty, is something that we must uphold, and that's the only way we can say we are political good manners as a nation.
All right.
The second issue, which I feel is also important, is the fact that within the community of East Africa, we do not have, we as Kenya, we do not have any political entity that has persisted for 2 elections in the same format, in the same form. Even those who are saying now they're in Kenya Kwanza, they are likely to run away from each other as we near the next election, because the dynamics on the ground may be different from the dynamics on the ground in the last general election. It is not about promises anymore. You must demonstrate that you are delivering on the promises that you gave us the last time. Then the promises you are giving us now, that we have a flight to a certain country, somewhere whose GDP is 90,000, equivalent of $90,000 GDP per capita, compared to our own GDP per capita, which is about $2,000. So it's important that we must be realistic, because you are dealing with Kenyans who are informed, who are intelligent, and they generally know when you are lying, they can confirm before you complete a sentence.
All right. Yet the concerns still remain. And if you look at media and the cartoons, like today the cartoon on the Star seems to suggest that President William Ruto is taking notes from what happened in Tanzania and what has just happened in Uganda. Previously, we've seen similar cartoons talking about, yes, ukiona cha mwenzako kimenyolewa, tia chako maji. We may say Kenya is different, but definitely there are some things that remain the same, even in our politics and electoral processes. Our democracy is not perfect. None is perfect around East Africa. We may say we are slightly ahead, but we still run the risk of experiencing some of the challenges that even Uganda has gone through. Dr. Mungatana.
Thank you, Fred. First, I want to say that I sit in the Pan-African Parliament, heading the Kenyan delegation in the African Parliament. And let me tell you, I am very proud to be a Kenyan. Every time we're talking about democracy and democratic space, Kenya is way, way up there. So, number one, I am very happy to announce that Kenya is considered one of those countries where there is true freedom, there is true expression of the will of the people, by and large. Obviously, we know it's not perfect, but you cannot compare Kenya with many of these countries, our colleagues that we sit with there. Number two, I want to make this point that indeed Africa is changing. It's not like the way it used to be. And just to answer your question, there are examples of presidents who have who are incumbent and they lost the elections. In Ghana, we had John Mahama, who lost to Nana Akufo. In Nigeria, we had Goodluck Jonathan, who lost to Muhammad Buhari. In Senegal, we had Diouf, who lost to Abdoulaye Wade. In Malawi, we had Joyce Banda, who lost to Peter Mutharika. And the reason I'm mentioning this example is to tell Kenyans and Africa who are listening to me now that we are moving forward. It's not the Africa that used to be there, that when you are a strong man, you cannot be removed. You know, if strong men like in the Gambia, Yahya Jammeh, was able to be moved out, you know, ECOWAS sat down and said, my friend, this election you lost, and you need to give way to the democratic will of the people. And he tried to use Supreme Court, but the countries around ECOWAS, they said, no, you need to go. And he tried to use the army. And the army, which the head were related to him, the boss came and said, look, there's no war. It's just the people, I can't go give a command to kill our people. So I will not obey the commander-in-chief's orders to suppress our people. So Africa is changing. That is the reality. And I will tell you this, in the African Union, the rule is if you stay in power or you came into power in a non-democratic manner, the country is automatically suspended. Automatically suspended. So you will not participate in the Parliament of Africa, you will not participate in the African Union. So all these majeshis who have come lately, they are not members of the African Union. And it is frowned upon by regional communities. Like if anything like that happened in East Africa, you know, the East African community will immediately suspend you. In West Africa, the ECOWAS will immediately suspend you. In the southern part, the SADC will immediately suspend you. So it is frowned upon, and I think because of all these tightening of the repercussions, people are tending to be a lot more open than they used to be. Which now brings me to our neighboring Uganda. I said that the playing field was not leveled, you know, it was not leveled at all. A lot of restrictions were given to the main opposition candidate under the National Unity Party, Bobi Wine. And there were people who actually believed that he was going to win, and mainly the younger people within the urban areas. But the truth of the matter, like has been said, Yoweri Museveni has a traditional support base. You know, he was the one who stabilized that country, and many of the voters are not the younger people. Most voters are the older people, and they saw it when there were coups, when there were killings in the country, instability, they couldn't take their kids to school, there was war all over, bloodshed and everything. And they saw also when Museveni was in charge. So truth of the matter, truth be told, Museveni has strong roots across the country, but the young man was stronger in urban areas. However, the truth also be told, the level field was the leveling of the campaigning period, access to media, you know, the conduct of the Electoral Commission, it was basically not in favor of change of the younger men. So the shutting down of the internet by the Uganda Communication Authority, the equivalent of Kenya's Communication Authority on the other side, was something that would have been expected, because it is, you know, the army just goes out. The army goes out, not police, to interfere with your rally as an opposition member. The army goes out of the barracks. So shutting down of the internet was something that was expected. Now, coming back to our country, is that something that we can anticipate? I don't think so. Our country's level of tolerance has increased. It's much higher than it is in our neighboring countries, you know, generally. I was there in Kampala when they were doing the presidential debate, and although Museveni was not there, the other gentlemen who were there, there was no lady, they really spoke their policies and everything, but every time they would come to referring to President Museveni, there was some, how do I call it, some reference, let me call it reference. The only person who would speak like a Kenyan politician and say, what the hell, he's done nothing, he's a failure, and what, that's a Kenyan politician speaking. That was just Robert Kyagulanyi. Okay. The rest of the other guys would speak with some form of reverence. Now, I say that because I was sitting with colleagues, members of parliament. I was saying this man, we could just import him back to Nairobi and he would fit perfectly. So here in Kenya, people have that freedom. You can say whatever you want to the president, to his cabinet ministers and so on. It is not the same. In Rwanda, it's not the same in Burundi, it's not the same in Uganda, it's not the same in Tanzania. So I expect this situation that in Kenya, our next general election would be open. People can do whatever they want. People can run parallel tiles. What is going to win that election, which I think is something that we are organizing as of now, is ground mobilization and organizing the structures.
Right.
And UDA, as of now, is planning that. Ahead many of these political parties.
Okay. Senator, allow me to stop you there because we will come and discuss that. Okay. Matters to do with the campaigns locally and what is happening in our local politics. So yes, indeed, President Museveni wins his 7th term at 81 years old, and he'll be president probably for at least 45 years, God willing. So yes, I'll be among the oldest presidents in Africa. I think Teodoro Obiang Nguema of Equatorial Guinea is the only one who's surpassed 45 years so far, at 46 years. So matters Uganda politics, we now want to do away with that. Let's take a break. When we come back, we talk about local politics.
Excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Omer every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tiaga. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments. Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist, what is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show.
Sunday, January 18, painted a vivid picture of ODM's growing rifts. 3 parallel faction meetings. 3 different factions, each attempting to stake its claim on the party's future, laying bare the power vacuum left by Raila Odinga's passing. In Kibra, Nairobi, Yala MP Winnie Odinga criticized leaders within ODM for being divided over who should take over the party's leadership.
Kwenye hii safari, sisi tulikuwa abiria na baba alikuwa dereva ya basi hili. Na kuna siku moja tuliamka na tukashtuka. Dereva amekufa. Aliaga dunia. Kidogo kidogo wale walikuwa na keti mbele wamekimbia kwenye steering wheel. Kila mtu anavuruta pande hii, mtu mwingine pande hii, pande hii, pande hii. Ngojeni. Baba alikufa juzi tu. Tulieni. Haraka ya nini bwana? Wacha tuongee kwanza. Simamisha hii basi kwanza. Sasa tunaona si kila mtu miongoni mwetu who believed in Baba. Wengine walikuwa wakimtumia tu. Wamesahau kazi ya uongozi.
In an apparent defense of ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, who missed all 3 ODM meetings today, Winnie Odinga affirmed that nobody will be removed from ODM, stating the party belongs to the people.
Wanaongea sana na tukiuliza maswali wanasema tutoke kwenye chama. Tukitoka watabaki na nani kwenye chama? Chama ni ya wananchi. Tukitoka wananchi wanaenda.
In Butere, Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary and ex-Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya joined ODM party leader Oburu Oginga to address delegates. Their message emphasized that the party's strength lies in its grassroots support and that this strength must translate into leverage at the coalition table with President William Ruto's UDA. Oburu Oginga stressed that ODM would only enter talks that guarantee equitable power sharing, signaling the strategic stakes ahead of 2027.
Hakuna mtu ambaye anaunda chama kwa opposition. Sisi chama yetu ya ODM imekuwa kwa opposition kwa muda mrefu. Kiwa na membership ambaye ni kubwa. Hiyo numbers ndio itasaidia mimi na Oparanya tukae na hawa wengine from the position of strength, tukiwa chama kikubwa kushinda vingine.
Sisi tunataka tuungane pamoja na UDA. Hii serikali tuliingilia kwa dirisha ya 2027, tuingilie kwa mula.
Hakuna siku baba aliwahi kutuambia kwamba ametuacha hapa ama wapi ama wapi. Hakuna siku. Na wale wanasema ati sijui baba aliwaambia sijui nini ati. Hiyo ni kukosa adabu. Nyamazeni bwana. Hiyo ni kukosa adabu. Tulieni bana. Everything baba alikuwa anasema mbele ya watu wake.
Meanwhile, in Kakamega town, allies of Governor Fernandez Baraza held their own meeting, highlighting competing centers of influence in ODM's Western Kenya base. Minority leader Junet Mohamed later reinforced Baraza's leadership locality, illustrating the complex web of loyalties shaping the party's regional power dynamics.
Political parties, chama yote duniani imetengenezwa kutafuta kitu inaitwa political power. Chama sio NGO ya kusaidia watu na relief food na nini. Hiyo kaenda tafuta NGO. Chama ikitengenezwa inatafuta nini? Na unatafuta uongozi kwa njia yoyo. Ndio maana tukiongozwa na Dr. Uruburu, chama ikakaa ikasema tuungane na vyama vingine tutafute political power.
Sasa hii tunataka tuende ile Canaan ambayo baba alisema anatupeleka wapi? Canaan. Kwa hivyo nyinyi mkikubali vile mmekubali, party leader wetu aende mbele, afanye mazungumzo na Dr. William Samoei Ruto, wazungumze, chama ipate kitu pale ndani.
With factions pulling in different directions, ODM faces a delicate balancing act, preserving Raila Odinga's legacy while negotiating its place in Kenya's political landscape. Mike Kagwongo, TV47, Nairobi.
ODM, it's on all the front pages today. ODM rift explodes with an image of the current party leader, Oburu Oginga, and Winnie Odinga, the last-born daughter of the late Raila Odinga. On the front page there, it is the same. On the front page of the Daily Nation, it's Odinga versus Oginga. The two also featuring there on the front page. It is also there on the front page of the Star. Oburu versus Winnie, battle for ODM soul intensifies. Kwa Taifa Leo wanauliza swali, shida iko wapi? We've talked about ODM. There was a lull last week because we were talking about schools and other issues, but ODM is now back and it would appear things are not getting any better. Are we witnessing now properly the demise of this ODM party?
Fred, again, at the risk of being repetitive, I have said this again and again, that ODM behave as though they don't see what's happening. When Raila Odinga died, and this is a conservative estimate, half of ODM died and went completely. Because the people wanted Raila to lead the party, and there were no structures strong enough to continue. So I said last week that the superstructure of the party is not the same. It's not standing on solid ground. And so even now you can see that ODM is divided. You can see already from the weekend, it's so divided. There are people who are in a hurry to be identified with the government of the day. They're asking what they will get in the next government. And the people then who I think have a better chance of explaining it better, I think even including this young lady, who are saying, let's first of all get the people. Let's organize the people rather than trying to organize ourselves for that position. Let's first of all organize the people, which is a better strategy for 2027. If you actually mobilize the people first, it doesn't matter who becomes who in the next government. It's very important that ODM, which is a people's party, which is the biggest political party that has lasted so long for 20 years, can easily be fractured, can easily just fall flat. I'm not so sure about how the two parties will go, how the three groups, whatever the number is, will go towards agreeing with each other. But the fact that they moved away without the Secretary General of the party, that they are explaining matters without the Secretary General of the party, and the party leader is being held as though he's the only one who can make that decision, that divides party. So once let's be very careful about who you speak to. Who are the people that are ODM people? Is it the older generation? Is it the younger generation? And who are they likely to listen to? So I mean, those are the issues that ODM has to face. And ODM, if they're not careful, you can see already in Kakamega alone that there were two separate meetings and two separate groups. That was Kakamega alone. You can imagine if that happens in every place where they go. And it's going to be like that. So my advice to ODM is please be sensitive to what has happened to your party. It's not time to even think about who is who. It's time to hold the party together, that ODM party. If you lose that opportunity, if some of these guys slip away, you're gone. Right. You're gone. And then you become just a local party somewhere, some community somewhere holding ODM, others. And this, I'll not be very surprised if somebody now registers another party. You remember the day when ODM split one time and we had ODM Kenya and then we had another ODM? Because everybody wanted to use ODM as a name, so I hope that doesn't come out. As for this young lady, Winnie, who is now coming out very strongly and I think respected by many people. Now, I don't know why she was left behind. If what she's saying basically the truth. She's saying, Baba did not leave us there anywhere. Please come back, and probably she can say, I'll tell you. Because she was the last person with Baba, you remember? Maybe she's trying to say, come and I tell you what I know about what Baba wanted to be. I support, last week I said I support this party called ODM. I've never become a member of ODM, but I like the way that it lasted and gave us a democratic impression of a party that can last that long. But now, it's just about to become like any of our many parties.
And indeed, ODM has, over the last 2 decades or so, carried the aspirations, and even Raila Odinga and his party have carried the aspirations of many Kenyans who have voted for him constantly, election after election, numbers going as high as 7-point-something million voters. This is not something you can ignore. But is there a possibility of saving this party? Because it's taking the same route that Ford Kenya took. Ford, and even Ford Kenya after that, after the passing on of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, that the succession of the party leads to its eventual demise. Ford Kenya now is just a pale shadow of what it was back then. ODM appears to have taken the same route. Is there a possibility that this party, that has carried the aspirations of so many Kenyans, could be saved?
Well, there are a number of issues that we need to take cognizance of. In Africa, political parties take 2 forms. They are either crafted around an individual who has some level of charisma, like the late Raila Odinga. Remember, Raila Odinga started with 500,000 votes and went all the way. The last votes that we were told were about 6.9, out of his own sheer effort and out of the need to remain focused. And for 20 years, he held almost half of this country single-handedly. And many people did not realize that was the reason. And the other issue that political parties in Africa, they are also grafted, apart from ANC and CCM in Tanzania, around coalition of communities for fear of the other. Remember even the formation of KADU and KANU here in Kenya in the run-up to 1963 elections was the fear of the dominance of the Kikuyu and the Luo that KADU was born. Those are issues that you cannot run away from. We are yet to get a good researcher. And in Africa, again, we've not institutionalized our parties. The institution called political party is yet to be formed in a way that there is a clear succession plan and a clear direction with which certain decisions are done. Notwithstanding the fact that we know ODM has been trying to stick to the issue that no decision shall be taken by a group of individuals without going through the system of the government. This therefore means that ODM runs the same risks as any other political party. Today, UDA without William Ruto will be a pale image of itself. Today, a number of other parties without the individuals who are leading them will be a pale image of what it ought to be. My suggestion today was to advise ODM is that even if you wanted to get into government, run your presidential candidate. Otherwise, you risk moving down from 80 members of parliament or so to perhaps 30 members of parliament. And knowing that the support of ODM has been 80% outside Luo Nyanza. And this therefore means that 80% of Kenyans within ODM will be disappointed by any decision that seems to exclude them and make it some kind of Luo party. Because the Luo nation within the Luo Nyanza has been only 20%. There are huge constituencies like the coast, or huge parts of the coast that ODM has enjoyed a lot of support. The Ma community and the Luhya nation. If you remove those 3 communities, you're likely to run the risk of destroying ODM within the next 2 years or so. My take is that ODM will not be the same. ODM will be broken into more than 4 pieces. One of the pieces will be Western Kenya, which, unless something is done, will move away from ODM. The other one will be the Luo Nyanza, which will also be split into 2. And if I was the strategist for the president today, I'd spend my time not looking at the votes in Luo Nyanza. I will focus on the Ma community, the Coast province. I know he already has one ally here, but there are many other people at the coast that have been in ODM, but they are now not sitting pretty. Those are some of the areas he should go and try to spend more time. The Luo Nyanza may not be as homogeneous as it ought to be. It is likely to move into certain alliances that I do not care now to mention, because I'll be giving some of our strategies to make sure that we wrestle power from them. But notwithstanding that, it worries me that people who pretended to be so close to Raila are people now destroying the party that he formed and stuck with for 20 years.
All right. Even looking at it from the perspective of UDA, because even the president said there are already talks to form a coalition. Is it better to form a coalition with a much weakened party or a party that is already having cracks, or one homogeneous party? Because as we speak, yes, there's a Western Kenya problem for ODM, there's a Coast problem for ODM. Now it looks more like a Luo Nyanza party. Of what help would it be to UDA to form a coalition with a much weakened ODM?
Obviously, it would be in our interest as UDA to have a strong coalition partner. And that is our position. But aside from that, I'm no advisor to the political wrangling that is going on in there. But I wanted to tell the younger people within ODM who are trying to come up and trying to jump the stairs and reach the top, as it were, that sometimes stabilizing a political party, just like stabilizing any corporation, needs sacrifice, personal sacrifice. And this is not a story. Let us learn from what others have done before. 1994 to 1999, Mandela was president of South Africa. And they told him, you must continue. He was president of South Africa and president of ANC. You must continue. He said, no. I said, I'm doing one term, and that is what I'm going to stick to. It is going to be one term. And you know what he did? In 1997, he stepped down from being the president of ANC, you know, separating the political party from the state. He continued with state power activities, but he came down and deliberately endorsed Thabo Mbeki, and that ushered him to become the president. But was Thabo Mbeki the most popular person in ANC? No, he wasn't. Jacob Zuma was a rising star. He was the leader of the young ANC people, the strong men who were coming up. He was the head of the youth wing of ANC. And actually, during the elections, he was going to win. There was also Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa was even stronger because he was coming from the other side of the unions, the workers' union, the black workers' union. And he was very, very strong. And he was very strong within the ANC because he had that power. So Mandela said, look, Ramaphosa, you have edge on your side. You see, I'm going to endorse Thabo Mbeki, and you are going to lead the black empowerment movement, because even if we have state power, if we don't have economic power, our people will still not enjoy it. So that is how Nani left to go. Ramaphosa left the state and went to lead the black empowerment movement within the presidency, within the South African time at that time. And Mbeki became the leader. So there was a stabilizing factor. You know, young people who are coming up were told, just hold on, you have time on your side. Come to our neighbor here in Tanzania, CCM. CCM, when Nyerere was leaving, Ali Hassan Mwinyi took over. When Ali Hassan Mwinyi was leaving, Benjamin Mkapa became the president. But was Benjamin Mkapa the most popular person in CCM at the time? No. Jakaya Kikwete was a rising star, very powerful within the CCM. And he was, Chama cha Mapinduzi was saying, this is our guy, this is our guy. The young people, they were around there. But again, it was managed in such a way that Kikwete was told, look man, you have time on your side. You go be foreign minister. So he was given foreign minister, served 10 years, 5 times. When Mzee Benjamin Mkapa was going, it was obvious who was going to take over the party CCM, become the presidential candidate, and become the president of Tanzania. And so my message to ODM, and I'm no advisor and you don't have to take it, but for you to stabilize that political party, there's got to be some sacrifice. There's got to be personal sacrifices for personal ego and desire to climb up. This is something that should have been done before Raila left us, but unfortunately it wasn't done, or maybe the sickness came at an inopportune time. But you could see that even Raila was trying to reorganize the party. There was a time he appointed a deputy party leader here, deputy party leader there, chairman, trying to reorganize the party. But I think maybe the sickness happened before, he could finish that. But the fact of the matter is, without managing the succession nicely, there was a hole that was left. So it is a challenge to the leaders now. Can you organize yourselves in such a way that you don't break this political party, because it stood for something. You don't break it up into regional small structures, because ODM, I've never been a member, I've never been party to it, but and we always competed with them, but ODM stood for something. ODM contributed very largely to the space, the democratic space that we enjoy today, and it would not be a good idea to break that party into power. So the younger people, for me, the message is, there is no harm in waiting. You have time in your side. It has happened before, it will happen again if you hold the party together.
Okay. And still looking from the perspective of UDA party, don't you think that, yes, it could actually be advantageous to President William Ruto and to the UDA to actually take advantage of this wrangling and eat into what was traditionally ODM bases in the coast, western, and even Nyanza itself, now that they are looking to form a coalition?
I know some people will look at it that way, but UDA has always maintained, through our party secretary general, Honorable Hassan Omar, that we are going to build this political party throughout the Republic. Even in places where we were not strong, we are going to build it up. That's why we are doing grassroots elections. We started last year, and this year we are continuing. And then we are going to proceed to the ward level, the constituency level, county level, and finally the national level. So for us, we are going to build the party irrespective of whatever is happening outside. It is good if ODM can remain stable and big, so that we do a coalition arrangement. But if there are problems there, it does not deviate from our initial mission to continue to grow the party irrespective. And for us, our party leader is also fairly young. I mean, in fact, even in terms of age, President Ruto would be within my age group if we were in Tana River. But he has just one more term to go, and then he goes away. So he has also to leave a structured political legacy that will continue even after he has left. So for us, we are doing it differently, and we hope that ODM settles down so we can work together.
Are we being too ambitious in trying to salvage, or even discussing the possibility of salvaging a party like ODM? We do not have any party in Kenya that has survived the test of, even KANU that you belong to, is, okay. Let me say it's just a pale shadow of itself. Are we expecting too much that ODM could survive the loss of its leader and still remain a big party?
Well, like you heard Senator Mungatana say and Honorable Kirwa, we've looked up to this party because it's the only party that we can see in recent times that has really held together and outlasted many other parties. It's now being available for basically for scavenging. I mean, it's now available for political parties to come and tear it into pieces, unless the leadership of this party begin to think about how to bring it together. The ambition of all these leaders in ODM, they're very ambitious, very strong guys. Everybody wanting to say, I am the one, I'm the one, I'm the one. This is exactly what led KANU to become what you're talking about. KANU was a very strong party for a long time. But one day, because of a decision like this one, split into half, and then the half of the half, and then the half of the half until it was almost finished. This is what happened to KANU. And so we need to believe in parties, political parties at last. And I think UDA should count on a stronger party, should help this party actually, to be strong, because if this party divides itself, then UDA will simply pick up pieces instead of having the whole. So I don't know what the strategy is for Mungatana's party, UDA. I suspect that UDA would want to assist this party to remain strong. And so there's a bit of, I don't know whether it's not interference, but there's a bit of reaching out that the president and his party needs to do to make sure that they don't lose this party. Because if you need this party, you need to make it strong. This party is exploding from within. It's not external factors, it's from within. So how you bring back that is a bit of a challenge that UDA need to work around. Now, on the matter that is very scientific, politically, is if you have a party that's so big and you're not counting on having a presidential candidate, that party can dissipate. Because you see, once you start telling people that we are preparing to support another political party's candidate, then they must believe, you must make them believe that we are one with this party, not two separate parties. Because if you are just an extension or a partner of a party which is not your own party, it's not easy for everybody to follow into that. That's scientifically proven. And that's why if Honorable Kirwa and his team have to be decisive in how to organize the alternative voice.
The united opposition.
Whatever they call it. because the unity has to come. We haven't seen it yet. But if that is not done and rallied around, you see, it's the same thing. People, by the way, at the end of the day, we're going to look at the presidential candidates. Mm-hmm. That's the choice we're going to have to make, presidential candidates.
Right.
And so you'll see a lot of people moving back this way, moving back that way towards the end, because you're looking for what are the chances of this presidential candidate succeeding. And so it's going to be that. So ODM might be convinced now, and I think that's why I support what the younger people are saying. Say, please, the soul of the people is what we should go after first. Let's get our people back together so that we can now work with whoever we want to work with. Some of the people are saying, and I heard Junet saying, every political party wants to capture power. But without a presidential candidate, how are you capturing power? Okay. How are you capturing power? I mean, even if you capture the power and it's not your candidate, you're still not going to be equal. Mm-hmm. You can't be equal. And that's what I think. You can imagine ODM thinking, for example, that because they want to become part of UDA, when UDA captures power, that they can actually dictate to share the government half. I mean, it's not possible.
Without a presidential
without presidential candidate. So you need to think around all these things, but also accept that ODM is still a very strong force in this country.
All right.
And could do one of two things. Could actually go on their own and still remain very strong, or whatever for coalition they form, they should be part and parcel of it. Can they be one of the same substance or of one substance, so that we don't have to fight thereafter? Because there are two things that will happen. You can split now, or even split after elections, completely, because of the fallout that happens after elections. So you can kill this party in a hurry now, or even kill it later. Right. That is what they need to consider. If the 20 years of Raila Amolo Odinga will be ending, the next group taking over are pulling in different directions. I'm not so sure we can guarantee even the next 5 years.
The younger members of ODM, and I think led, of course, by Winnie Odinga, are calling for an NDC, a National Delegates Conference. What's the biggest risk with that? Because the party recently held that Central Management Committee meeting, and they were reluctant to go that direction. They said, okay, fine, let's have this coalition discussion first before an NDC. Is there fear that an NDC may not endorse such a coalition?
Yeah.
And where is the position of people, of members of the party?
First of all, I think it was cowardly for them not to have allowed, because NDC, for many political entities and our parties in Kenya, for that matter, is actually the supreme organ that makes decisions. And that supreme organ ought to make that decision having had some kind of informed discourse among themselves with the leadership of the party. But today, and I'm not ODM, and I've never been, and I may never be, even in the foreseeable future, is that the ground is different from what the leadership at the top is. They made one fatal political mistake by almost talking and resolving in a way that they made their decision almost clear that they were going to have discourse with UDA or Kenya Kwanza for that matter. They should have made open the decision at that level that we are going to have this discourse with like-minded entities for purposes of forming the next government. That would have allowed the possibility of them having some kind of discussion with any of the entities, those in government and those of us who are not in government. That is what has caused the implosion that has taken place in ODM. And I want to advise them, because I think at our age, we are allowed to advise given the mistakes we have made in the past and what we learned from those mistakes, is you have pre-election coalition and you have post-election coalition, which may be actually cemented on a more solid grounds. Because pre-election coalition, if you don't win power, then that coalition becomes an entity. And at times you may coalesce with individuals, and once they win power through your support, they don't give you the right end of the stick. And in that case, you'll be sulking for the balance of the period between this election and the next election. So if I was to advise them, is run your presidential candidate, get the number of votes that you get, you are open. Whoever wins, whether those in government today or those in the opposition, you can negotiate with them a post-election, because you are given about 3 months for you to make that decision. And in Kenya, we know whoever becomes president has a higher leverage to negotiate with whomsoever wants to be part of his administration. So ODM is almost limiting itself to the pre-election arrangement, and they may get into that election and come out with miserable performance in a way that they will not be attractive after the election. My request to the young people is that leadership, you have to go for it. Museveni at the age of 40 went for it. President Ruto decided to do the impossible by telling the Kalenjins in 2013, we are going to work with the mountain. That is something that 5 years prior, these were two communities that never wanted to see each other. So he was able to do that because he had the courage, and also he had already galvanized the community around his political arrangement. So people like Winnie, Edwin Sifuna, people like Babu Wino, people like Otsotsi, people like my Trans-Nzoia friend, Caleb Amisi, and others must also realize at the age of 40 or thereabout, you decide and you move. If you wait, you'll be a commentator like some of us, because at times you wait and time waits for no man. So my worry is that they should not wait, they should move.
Start a different party?
Move, take over ODM.
Okay.
Remove my youthful leader, Oburu, youth leader, and they take over the party. And they move and they present a presidential candidate. Let me tell you, if you presented Babu Wino today as a presidential candidate, or Sifuna, they may actually be among the top two. And the next election is likely actually to have a runoff unless these factions are clear.
Okay.
Because without Raila, the current regime may find itself struggling to get 50% plus one vote. And that means they have a chance even to negotiate with others to join them after round one. But if they move the way they are moving, indecision in politics is a dangerous position that one can occupy.
ODM, how attractive will this party be come 2027 is a discussion here. And ODM and the cracks therein forming the biggest discussion on all the front pages today. I think only Business Daily, because there's nothing business related there. But now I want us to move to the next conversation as we wrap up the show now, and it's about President William Ruto and what he has done so far. We've seen him coming out now dressed in yellow, and this morning he'll be here in Nairobi dishing out or launching the Nyota Funds program. He was in Ukambani last week, in Mount Kenya earlier in the week, and in Rift Valley at the beginning of this year. And consensus is that he looks very much like a candidate who has rolled out his campaign. 19 and a half months to elections. Is this what is happening? President William Ruto has officially kicked off his campaigns for re-election.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we must not confuse development activities with political activities. You see, if I'm looking for my vote, and this is what I keep telling my team down at home, that the last time I'm going to actually be fighting for my seat as a senator in Tana River. At that time, I'll tell you, I am standing for the senator of Tana River, vote for me, okay? Vote for me. You and you and you vote for me because of this and that, okay? But so long as I'm not asking for vote, I'm going to different parts of the county, explaining to them what we are doing in the Senate, what we have done so far, and what we intend to do this year. Somebody might think I'm campaigning, but I'm not campaigning. I'm just explaining myself to the people, because I have that responsibility to explain to them. And that responsibility of explaining to them my Senate duty, which they sent me in Nairobi to do, it's on me. It's not on any person. I'm supposed to present my scorecard. I'm supposed to tell them what we have done, how much money we have pushed to the county in this number of years or last year, what we have done in terms of oversight, what we have done in terms of legislation, what we have done in terms of representation. Now, when I'm doing this in different parts of the county, some people say I'm contesting. But let's come to, I'm campaigning, but I'm not campaigning, I'm just explaining. So let me come.
William Ruto has been in Nyeri twice in a matter of weeks. He was decked in UDA colors this past weekend at the Sagana State Lodge.
Yes.
He talked directly about how he's coming for the Mount Kenya vote. He talked about the vote.
Yes.
That is not campaigning?
Yes, yes. From the way I see it, he went there for Nyota, right?
Earlier in the last week. Yes. But this weekend he was at the Sagana State Lodge.
That one was welcoming the people who won the nominations at the grassroots level, to just appreciate them and tell them, let's keep up. Those who have ambitions, continue going on, because we have party elections, that, like I've explained before. But coming to this issue of Nyota, I want to tell you that Nyota is actually something very big that the president has done. There are those who are saying that the money is not enough. And by the way, I was one of those who was asking myself, surely, what can I do with 20,000 shillings? But this weekend I was at home and I was having meetings with some of our youths. So somebody in that meeting told me, Mheshimiwa Senator, Daktari, do you know where I started from? 3,000 shillings. I started with 3,000 shillings. I bought a crate of mayai. I bought my bucket and mafutas, and I started selling these mayais at the bus stage. And I have expanded, but I started with 3,000 shillings. And I was given by so and so. So when you tell me 20,000 is not enough, my friend, you're losing it. Now, even more interesting, there's a lady in that meeting who told us, by the way, for me, I started selling these hair pieces, and I would go to the dump site, collect what has been discarded, and go and treat them, wash and make, and then sell. He said, the first time I did it, I got 7,000 shillings. So for me, I started just by doing something on my own. Mm-hmm. So if I was given 20,000, and you know now this lady runs her own small kiosk, because after that, she said, I learned that I could put an order for shoes at 100 shillings, and they deliver to me. And then when I sell, I make more money.
Senator, the concern
can I finish?
19 months to elections. This one, you want to say it's purely coincidental that it's coming at this time?
No, can I finish? Then I will answer your question. I'm explaining about this lady in Tana River. She started from the hair pieces. She went to selling shoes. Now she's bringing deras and selling in her small space and doing well, feeding her family and looking after herself. And she didn't have the 20,000. So what I'm saying is that 20,000 may not mean much to a person sitting in Nairobi. But I have sat with my people in Tana River. With 20,000, you can get a number of goats, you can get a number of chickens. You can actually get started in Tana River County. I don't know about Nairobi. But I want to also say this. It is never late to do the right thing. You see, even if it is election day tomorrow, and there is a program that you need to do today, so that the Kenyan people can benefit, it is never late. And I would tell the president, even using this platform, that he should not stop. He should not even look aside when people are saying, oh, you are campaigning, or if you're doing the right thing, keep doing it. And let me finish somewhere there by saying, this whole thing has arisen something else, yeah? That kujituma ni form, ndio form. Kujituma ndio form. When people are realizing that actually I can get started somehow, even with 20,000, it is coming down slowly to and me, I'm speaking as an elected senator, I'm speaking from what my people are telling me, that this 20K is going to help us one way or the other. Of course, there will be stories of failure. Even free education, We have successes, we have failures.
I hear.
And so I'm saying
because of time,
it's a good thing and let it
yes.
continue.
But it works perfectly for the president, 19 months to election, rolling out such a program that would benefit 800,000 young Kenyans. Do you feel that the president has kick-started officially his campaign? Unofficially, probably.
There is no doubt that the president is a very strategic leader, a very strategic politician. And some of the things that we're talking about, like the Nyota program, really is strategy for elections. I mean, it's not, you can't hide that. There are a number of things that the president is doing now, of course, including rallying us, for example, to travel, you know, to Singapore. Yeah. And those are all strategic things. So that there is an agenda. I told you about Museveni. His agenda was protecting the gains. And he went all over the country saying, we must protect these gains. So, I mean, strategy includes any program that you can do towards the end. And if this youth who are getting this money, for example, really appreciate that, they will be the campaigners for the president. So we cannot separate a politician doing politics and his management of the state affairs. So he's doing both. He's doing both. And by the way, he's doing quite a lot of that. All these things that you are seeing happening all over the country, the low-cost housing, and when he is giving keys to people, you know, that's preparing for the same. It's the same. You can say he's building, and he's building a lot of them.
Do you feel that he has painted a picture of how his campaign is going to be? Him handing over keys for affordable housing as we get closer to elections. Nyota Fund, 20,000 to young Kenyans. That story about how he's going to Singapore. Then he cups it up with the Rironi Mau Summit dueling, and that's it. That is his campaign strategy.
It is. And he keeps saying it, but he's not even hiding about it. He's telling the opposition. Whenever he says, people will judge us by what we are doing, right? So he's trying to create a narrative that you must judge me by the activities that I'm doing now, which is a very good political strategy. Right. So you can't remove that from I'm just saying for Mongatana's sake. Even the meeting in Sagana is not just coincidental. It is to make sure that the vote from the mountain is beginning to roll, so that he can try and get back some of the votes which are slipped through his hands. So we must give him credit for being that forward-looking and strategic. Now, the opposition don't have that opportunity. They don't have anything to show for it. So all they have to do now is to create a counter story about all those things that you're talking about. But as for the president, he's ready. He's moving.
He's already
ahead.
off.
He's already, yes.
But as a final word, because you're the last one to speak here now, from the united opposition, countering what the president has done right now, and it looks like he's way ahead already. His message is clear. His mission is already there. He's already hit the road. And we look at the united opposition and we see cracks. In fact, one of the cartoons has a DCP party leader trying to mend a wall that has so many cracks that he can't even handle it.
Yeah, first of all, politics is dynamic. 19 months means a lot of things will happen. There are people who will run away from government, and there are those who will gravitate towards the government between now and the next election for various reasons. But just to support what the Honorable Samuel Pogisho has just said, is that I usually know our current president. Whenever he tells you, face that direction, be careful, because he's moving in the other direction. When he was in Nyeri, he created the narrative that there are people criticizing the Nyota project, and they are politicizing. He himself was politicizing, and he wanted to create people opposed to it. We are not opposed to Nyota project. In fact, if we took over government, we'll do better. We'll first of all train those who are to benefit, and also identify people who are already in business, like the lady who is already doing something from starting with airpieces, and give her something more so that it is not just the same amount throughout the republic. Give her something more depending on our own business acumen. and make it happen in a bigger way. You see, the president realized that the narrative he created in the last election was perfect. Dynasty versus the hustler. Bottom up, I've never had him for the last 7 months because I'm always careful, and I'm one of the people who watch any news affecting our president or emanating from the president. But bottom up has actually ceased to exist. Now it is that route to Singapore. And the route to Singapore is just creating some kind of image, because in Singapore, there were no people abducted and killed in the street. It is actually the cabinet and influential people who were abducted, and the president went with them to the deep sea, and he came back alone, which means those guys were actually done away with. Now, I would imagine if the president was to go away with certain individuals within his government and they disappeared, actually it will be very popular. But the issue is, does he have the moral courage and authority to take them to the deep sea? Or if that is actually some yardstick for corruption, he may not even exist himself, because actually the ship will sink into the bottom of the sea. Because if corruption meter will be used to measure that, that will happen. So the issue is on high gear campaigning. And what I just want to remind him, the election I lost, I did more for my constituency than the previous 15 years. At times you may do so much, but people will have decided that you are not going to be our next chief executive. You should pray harder and pray genuinely, and realizing that there are many Kenyans who may take the job. So we cannot pretend. And also, this Nyota thing is money that we are borrowing. Kenyans will pay. So it is not free money. It is money that Kenyans will pay. We, in the alternative thinking, we do not have that capacity to take taxes and to get loans on behalf of the Republic of Kenya. So when we take over office, we'll improve some of the programs that he has done.
Yes, indeed. President William Ruto will this morning be launching the Nyota Fund program here in Nairobi, and we'll be beaming that live here at TV47 as well. A lot of criticism. Has he started his campaigns using this? Some call it tokenism, but others are praising it and saying, yes, it is quite consequential. That is one of the big discussions this morning. Of course, ODM as well, and what has happened in Uganda. Thank you so much, Dr. Danson Mugatana, Senator Tana River County, Kipruto Rapkirwa, who served as Agriculture Minister in the Kibaki 1 administration, and Samuel Pogisio, who served as ICT Minister in the Kibaki 2 administration. Thank you so much for your time at TV47 this morning. After the break, we switch gears, talk matters sports. Yes, a lot of football coming from the weekend, the AFCON finals, EPL games, and of course, that Nyota Fund project will be bringing to you live as well. My name is Fred Indemuli. Good morning.